right, give it a few seconds to load up. And then, all right, looks like we're good. All right, let me send this link out. Here. All right, let me send this out to via social media, and then we can get started, guys. Sorry we're starting late, guys. I had some stuff to do this morning. I just had to drop off my car for some servicing, and then I hop right back on as soon as I got back. So we're currently in US 30 right now, but let me just post this to all the social media so we can get everybody on here real quick, and then we can kick off the trading week. Looks good so far. We have this US 30 position active. We don't have any Forex trades to start off the week, but that's fine because it is only Monday and the market does move a little weird on the open of the week. So let me just post this on the Instagram real quick. Everyone should be pretty nice in profit for US 30. I think it's going to keep pushing up, so it should be fine. But let me just get this on the Instagram real quick, and then we can get started. Man, my phone's running a little slow. Might be time to get that iPhone 12. I got this link on here. Link posted. All right, let me make sure it's on right now. Uploading. All right, cool. Looks good, guys. So let me pull up the chat real quick. Hey, Spencer, morning. Yeah, no, everything's good. I'm just getting like my, I'm going on a little trip this weekend to Arizona. I'm gonna take a drive out there with my family to visit some family out there. So I'm getting my autopilot realigned so I can just pretty much put in the address and then autopilot all the way down there. And I'll probably be trading, Friday morning with you guys, while I make the drive up there. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with my car. It's just getting some realignment issues with the car. Which is not a huge deal. So it should be done by today. Hopefully I'll get my car back. Morning, Matt. Morning, Elkin. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Usman. Morning, Rick. Or Arik. I'm not even sure what to call you, Arik. Sometimes I call you Rick. Sometimes I call you Arik. 7 day ones. Nice. He's currently in Arizona. It must be cold out there right now, right? Because I know the winter gets pretty freezing out there. I haven't been out there in the winter and I can't even remember how long, but hopefully it's not too cold. Let's see, Shanika, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm ready to get into these profits. Hopefully you guys took this US 30 position right here. We're currently in profit. Let's see how many pips. Maybe about 300, 400 pips right now. It was up 600. And then I was thinking about maybe moving my stop loss up in profit, but I'm just going to keep hanging on because it looks like a nice bullish move. If you pull back on US 30, it's been pushing up, pretty nice. I also saw some news on CNBC about the corona news is like not getting any better, but there's no changes being made. So the stock market's just going to keep pushing up, I guess. Nice. So yeah, I'm looking over here on CNBC right now. I just got this alert for this this update on the Moderna vaccine. So Moderna says preliminary data shows coronavirus vaccine is more than 94% effective. So, stock shares like soared up. So it looks like the Dow is just going to keep jumping. Even right here, Dow jumps more than 450 points. So we're in a good position that we're in a buy right now because it looks like, all things are pointing up. So if you guys are still in this trade, great. I know some people asked me earlier Oh yeah, so Ark, sorry, I saw your question, about the first TP. Let me go and check that real quick to make sure it's not that it's fine. Because sometimes when I change it from the the um, the original entry to the FTMO, it kind of changes the numbers up a bit, but I could fix it. Let me see. No, the numbers look right, Ark. I'm not sure if yeah, the numbers look fine. So I did see some people in the chat asking if the numbers were wrong for if FTMO, but it looks proper to me. So this was our entry 92812 right here. TP1 is going to be 750 pips, which is 29887, and it looks perfectly fine to me. So I'm not sure if you guys saw something different. Maybe I'm just missing something. But if you guys do, just let me know so I can fix it. Everything else looks perfectly fine to me. So I'm not sure if it was just an error on if you guys just saw something differently or if the numbers are off, but the numbers look fine to me. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so RX, the numbers are right. You just need to adjust the difference. Yeah, that's about right. I know some people get a little confused with the FTMO and the traditional parameters, but they're just a little different. Let's see. Usman said here in Montreal, it's mad cold. I bet, man. I heard, Canada gets freezing, like sub-zero temperatures out there, and I'm glad we don't have that here in California because I can't do cold weather. I was just talking to Sisuk about it the other day. I was like, I can never imagine having to shovel snow. I don't even know. I wouldn't even know what to do. We get earthquakes and we get rain, but it's nothing too crazy. It happens every blue moon. It's not consistent. So thankfully it's still warm here. It's actually really hot here today. Let's see what's the weather here out. It's currently at 63 degrees, but it's going to go up to 80 degrees over here in California. So I mean, this is a huge difference compared to the East Coast and people up north. Let's see, Spencer said, I was looking for where US 30 could reject from and realized the spike this morning is very close to the top of US 30. Yeah, Spencer. So it looks like you were looking at this spike right here at 3:40 a.m. my time, which is probably about 6:50 your time in the East Coast, I believe. So yeah, just looking at, let me go on a cleaner chart because that chart's kind of messy. That's the chart I've been back testing on. But yeah, looking over here, if you go on the higher time frame, like say like the 4 hour, yeah, it looks like it did test some sort of high. So it looks like it's getting near it. Let's go back to the shorter time frame to see how far is it from there. Let me go over here actually. Yeah, so it looks like our full TP would probably hit before it even gets to that point. So hopefully that's what happens here. But I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out because I'm not exactly sure how the market's going to react to the new news. Because just looking at all of the news on CNBC, it looks like everything is pointing upward. So hopefully it pushes it far enough, spikes it up just to hit our full TP, and then we can get out of the trade. Even when it hits TP1. So this is what I do recommend. I recommend that you guys do use the exit strategy so that when it does hit TP1, make sure to move your stop loss and profit because, these are uncertain times, especially with COVID, especially with, the new presidency and stuff like that. Anything can really happen because Trump's going on like a rampage right now, trying to kick everyone out of the house. So, with all that uncertainty going on in the world, there's going to be, some issues that we're going to run across, obviously. But it's better to be well prepared and not to gamble it. As long as you guys have your stop loss and profit, perfectly fine. Have nothing to worry about because then you have all of the upside to reaching full TP, which you've also protected your position so that you can, if worse comes to worse, you get stopped out in profit, and it's fine because then you'll be able to survive to trade another day. I hope nobody's over leveraging. Main thing is always to be on point with things. So let me go back to the chat over here. I'm just gonna keep looking over at I'll keep glancing over to US 30, but we're not gonna pay too much attention on it. We'll let it go to TP1, and then once that happens, I'll give you guys the update to move your stop loss, and then from there we can just continue on. But I'm not gonna focus on it too much right now because we're already in the position. There's nothing else we can do at this point. We just have to wait for it to hit our TP, and then we'll make some arrangements, once we get to that point. Well, let's see. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Victor. 7-day ones. Dang. So it's 80 degrees out in Arizona right now. It's complete opposite of what I thought. I thought it was going to be cold, but it looks like it's hot out there. So man, I guess I'm not going to be bringing too many sweaters out there. And let's see. Good morning, can we see? Everyone's here. Alvin said, Shawn, can you check Euro USD for the next candle close on the 30-minute? Take a look at that. Velocity, can we go over how the difference between the FTMO and normal brokers? Because I'm trying to do this myself. So Velocity, you'd have to pull up FTMO on your own broker just to see what the difference is. I mean, the main difference is just going to be the pricing difference. So if you look at FTMO right now, so I have my phone up right here. If you look at FTMO, the sell price is it's 29837, and right here it's 29932. So the way to do that is you're just going to subtract it. So you're going to do 29932 minus whatever number I said earlier, 29837. And you can see the difference is only 95 pips. It's not a big difference. I feel like a lot of people make a big deal out of this, but it doesn't really make a huge difference at all. You just have to add or subtract the number to it to find that middle ground between the two different pricing structures. And a lot of people screw this up, so I think you should just add it or subtract it to it. So say if you are say if you're looking to buy like we did right here, right? The FTMO price is cheaper than the normal price right here. So in order to have the same entry, what you're going to do is you're just going to type in this price right here. What is it? Or the buy price actually, because we're buying here. So the price there is 29921, and then you're just going to subtract 120, which is the middle ground for what it normally is. So this would be the entry price for FTMO, and it's not too difficult. I feel like a lot of people make it a huge deal. It's that simple. You just get the number right here, whatever this number is, 29918, subtract 120, and there you go. There's your entry price. And then from there, you could set your parameters for TP1, TP2, and or stop loss. But it's really that simple. I feel like everyone thinks it's like rocket science and you have to do all these calculations, but it's basic math. Here, I'll do it again. It's literally, so you get this number right here, which is 29920. You subtract 120, there's your entry point. So I did it in like less than a second. But it all comes with practice. I mean, a lot of people don't really get it because they just ask me for the number. They don't actually go and do the basic math where you just subtract the number from it. But that's really all it is, and then the thing is, if people want to just ask me for the entry, the thing is I'm not going to be able to respond to you like within a split second. So if you're going to be asking me for that, you're going to miss the entry. So just keep this in mind. If you were entering a sell, you'll do the same thing in the opposite direction. So say you're entering a sell, right? You're entering a sell here. The entry right here is 29920. You do the same thing that I just mentioned earlier, subtract 120, and there's your entry point. It's easy as that. But yeah, it's going to come with practice. So, it might seem like a little difficult now, but literally just keep every time you do it, it's going to be easier and easier because you know exactly what to look out for. So hope that helps, Velocity. If there's still confusion there, feel free to let me know. I'll probably go over it again, but it's really simple. You're just subtracting the number from whatever entry you're trying to get into. Because the difference is only it's generally like 80 to 120 pips, but to be on the safe side, obviously you want to go to the highest, 120 pips, versus going for the lowest, because you might be off by X amount of points, which could be close to your stop loss or TP. Let me turn off these alerts right here. All right, cool. So let's see. Let me go back to the first question up here. Yeah, so Alkin wants me to check out Euro USD for the next 30-minute candle. So I'm going to go over that first. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over the questions. And then after I'm done with the questions, I'm going to go over to the marking up the charts for you guys, so you guys know the zones for pretty much all the FX pairs that we follow. And I'll explain that once we get to that point. But to start things off, let me just go over these questions and knock stuff out so that we can get started with the chart analysis. So here we are with a 30-minute. Alkin wants me to check out Euro USD. I'll get that open right here. There we go, Euro USD. Hey, Alkin, are you, I'm assuming you're applying the intraday strategy, right? That's why you're on the 30-minute. So I'm just gonna go ahead and look at it right here. So it looks like this would be an entry right here, Alkin. If you were trying to take this entry right there, you put your stop loss at the previous swing, which would be down here. You could just round that to like 30 pips, I guess. So that would be your entry right there if you were thinking about taking this trade. And the reason for this, if you guys aren't familiar with the K2 strategy or the intraday strategy that Alkin is looking at, I'll type it up right here. This is the K2 intraday strategy, 30-minute. And this is available to you guys too. You know, everyone has access to the K2 indicators and the K2 strategies. So Alkin, he signed up recently. He's been applying this and he's been killing it. So this is possible for everyone and it's super simple. So first one is identify a valid K2 signal. Second, confirm K2 trend meter matches signal. And then after that, you can enter on the open of the following candle. And then you'll put your stop loss at previous swing, which is exactly what I just did right now. Let's make this a little smaller. So just going over the strategy right here, it's super simple, guys. Literally, there's no brain work that needs to be done here. Literally, all you do is you identify a valid K2 signal, which is right here. We have a valid buy signal. This is valid because it's a green buy signal with a green bullish candle within it. Similarly, right here, this would be a valid sell signal because it's a sell signal with a red bearish candle within it. Next, you confirm the trend meter matches the signal. So right here, the signal matches the trend meter because they're both green. So if they're green and green, you can enter on the open of the following candle. So right here, Alkin, you can enter a buy position right here with the buy stop so that price is below the entry, but as soon as it pushes up, it'll fill your position, and then you can pretty much write it up. And then generally, you can place your stop or your TP1s at critical points like 25%, 50%, and 75%. And this is all explained in the course. So if you guys are familiar with the K2 strategies course, everything's explained there how to do all this stuff. So basically, once price reaches this point, you move your stop loss to either break even or that point. And then again here, you just continually move your stop loss up because in this situation, if price was to come up and then comes back down, you get stopped out right here in profit. So, profit's profit. A lot of people don't understand risk management, but this is the bare basics of risk management where you can easily, adjust your positions to protect your position. Because the thing is with trading, it's a long-term game. So what you have to do is just lock in these profits, even though they're small profits. And as long as you eliminate your losses and risk, you're just going to keep stacking those profits higher and higher. And then they just keep compounding because you're risking the same percentage each time. You're not taking the same lot size, you're risking the same percentage. So the larger your account gets, when you risk 3% of like $1,000 account, you're making like what, like, was it $30? Math sucks. So let me just do the math here. So you multiply that, 3%, $30. Yeah, so I was right. $30. And then, on top of that, once your account, say you win that trade, you win 3%, right? Now it's going to be 1,030. You multiply that by 30% again. Sorry about that, guys. It's 3%. And then now your next win is going to be $30.90. So this thing just keeps adding up. You have $1,000. Your first win was 30. Your next one was $30.90, and then you do 3% of that as well. See, and then it goes from 30 profits from 30 to $31 to $35, and it just keeps adding. So, if you do basic math and you guys understand how to compound your account, odds are you'll be able to grow that account in no time, especially with the win rate we have. You just keep stacking those wins. And here's one thing as well. So Alkin, one thing as well, because I think we talked about this right here. So for this entry right here, I wouldn't have entered this trade. And let me see if I could understand why. Because I remember we went over it or we talked about it. What was this, on the 15th? I think there was news that day. So not the 15th. Let me see. This was, yeah, actually it was the 15th. Oh yeah, so we wouldn't have taken this trade because the market just opened. But let me see. If you took this trade right here, you probably still would have hit TP because stop loss would have been right here for 12 pips. Actually, you still would have hit TP. So this would have been a winner regardless. So me personally, I wouldn't have taken this trade because this is another entry right here on this side. I wouldn't have taken it because, like I said, when the market opens, it's there's a lot of volatility in the market and it's going to spike around. But even if you took this trade right here, you still would have hit full TP for 12 pips, like a small scalp move right there. So this is the same entry right here. Identify a valid K2 signal. There's a valid buy signal right here. Confirm the K2 trend meter matches the signal. This is green. This is green right here. You're set. You can enter on the open of the following candle, which would be right here. You put your stop loss at the previous swing, TP from a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, and you can see right there would hit full TP. So same situation right here. But like I mentioned, you'd put a buy stop there so that you can, catch the move as it swings back up. But the market's just kind of weird today because it's Monday. So you're probably going to see some whipsaws and stuff like that, as it moves up. But it does look like a good entry. I think it should be completely fine. And we'll see how that plays out. But all right, let me keep going down the list over here. Radomir said, how do you like gold? So Radomir, I was looking at gold earlier this morning. I think someone in the chat asked about it. Gold was just a little risky because this huge spike down here, it just was it corrected right after. So it spiked down, it corrected upwards. See, the reason why we see this going up is because there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, especially with COVID, especially with the elections going on. The thing is, gold is a safe haven currency. So if you guys aren't familiar with safe haven currencies, basically when there's uncertainty in the world, safe haven currencies, like people put their money in safe haven currencies because they believe it to be, a safe place to park their money. And that's why usually when, COVID is happening and, it's COVID, the election, stuff like that. So right here, you can see this is around election time. What was it, like November 3rd? So you can see from election time right here, people were uncertain like what was going to happen. That's why gold shot up like this. And then right here, it just dropped after the elections were announced. And then again, right here, there's like COVID news and stuff like that. So then it's pushing back up. So the thing with gold is that it's a very erratic asset to trade. That's why I don't trade it, because it's easily manipulated. It can be pushed back and forth, depending on where the market makers and institutions want to push it. So depending on the sentiment, if a lot of people are buying, a lot of people are selling, the institutions and market makers are probably going to push it the opposite direction. So if I look at gold right here, let me just pull up the IG sentiment to see where everyone is trading. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna check out the sentiment here. Nice, Jess. I would love to stay, bro. I got a boxing session at the gym, so I'll catch you later. Yeah, see you later, Jess. I can hit the gym later too. Probably after I pick up my car in a bit, or they might have delivered to me, hopefully. Yeah, Radomir said vaccine news dropped it. I agree with that. So the thing with this is there's so many people long, right? 81% of people are long on gold. So that's probably why they spike price down right here, because you can see as, if a lot of people are buying right here, the market makers and institutions are not going to let everyone win. So people would have entered right here. Say if I went over here and I rewinded to this point. See, when you get to this point right here, a normal trader, like a normal price action trader, they would identify this as, a solid uptrend, right? Because I would too, obviously. It looks like a solid uptrend. So the thing is, a lot of people enter their buy positions right here. They put their stop loss where everyone else puts it right here at the previous swing. And since there's so many buyers, the market makers and institutions, once the news drops, for the vaccine and stuff, they spike price because they have an excuse. It's like people are all buying because everyone's on this dream that, gold is just going to keep going up. But the thing is that the news dropped and then they have an excuse to spike price because now they can blame it on the news. Oh, there was vaccine news. So this is why price spiked. So everyone who entered a buy right here, because there's so many people, 81% of people are long in the gold market. As soon as that news dropped, they spiked everyone out. So if you play this forward, you can see that price spiked right after and it pretty much like stopped everyone out. And then it pretty much rejected right off the trend line and then it shot right back up. So the thing with this is it's a risky time to trade it because with the news dropping like that, they can literally keep spiking price. So right here, people probably were like upset, like, oh crap, I should have just, waited. So they're like, this was a manipulation, right? So what they do is they enter another long position right here because they try to recoup their losses. They put their stop loss around the same position around here. And then what could happen next is they could just spike price down again. make it go sideways, and then push it back up. And then as soon as they do that, people are like, okay, it's done being manipulated. They're like, okay, we can enter another long position right here, right? And then as soon as that happens, they just do the same thing again until they're done like making their money. Once they're done making their money, they'll push price in the direction that it's supposed to go. So I personally wouldn't trade gold right now, more specifically because of this drop right here. Generally, when a drop like this happens, the market has to go one of two ways. It's either going to correct back up or it's going to continue dropping. And currently right now, it looks like the market's just being manipulated and it's just going sideways. So you can see right here, it's like a huge range, but it's literally just going sideways right here until, the money's made by the banks, institutions, and then they'll either spike price up or they'll spike price down. So it's just a risky asset to trade right now. I personally wouldn't trade it. I know some people make money off it, but me personally, I think it's just gambling because I generally don't want to trade stuff that's being manipulated because it can go either way. There's no way for you to be 100% certain that it's going to go in one way unless you have some sort of insider information or something that's indicating that it's going to, continue up. So I'd probably just wait, maybe follow the news, see what's going on with the vaccine. If the vaccine news is good or if it's bad, it'll obviously affect the market. But me personally, I want to be sure before I ever enter a trade because a lot of things can happen from now until then. But okay, so let's keep moving forward. Let's see. Radomir said, if it gives a red signal for sell, but the candle above the Ichimoku cloud. Radomir, I think you're using the old settings. So if you should watch all the videos before you apply the strategy, because I think what you're doing is, or actually, Radomir, which strategy are you applying? Because the thing with the Ichimoku cloud is that we don't really use it anymore. So that's why I think you're watching the old videos, because the first version of the strategy that I created, which was the first strategy that I created, which was like 2 years ago, that's when we used the Ichimoku cloud, but we don't use it anymore because the trend meter has replaced it. So depending on what you're using, which strategy, I can go deeper into that. But if I turn on the momentum indicator, and also what time frame are you trading on as well, Radomir, so I can figure out what you're looking at exactly, because I don't see a red signal coming anytime soon on the 4 hour. I'm not sure if you're on the 30-minute. Let's see. Yeah, you might be on the 30-minute, you might be on the 1 hour. I'm not sure exactly what your settings are. Oh, got you, Radomir. Yeah, so Radomir said, yeah, I watched them all, so I got confused. So let me pull up the course over here. Basically, what I did was for the course, I left up the old video so that you guys can understand how I created the strategy and how my thought process in moving towards these other new indicators. But let me just show you the course over here. I'll pull up the curriculum. So yeah, this is what the K2 course looks like. Basically, the strategy that Radomir is looking at, I think he's looking at the intraday strategy, which would be right here. And you can see here that there's a version 1, version 2, and version 3. Currently, we're using version 3. So you should go from the upper versions because this strategy was created about 2 years ago. And obviously, as time goes on, a lot of members give me feedback on how they would like the strategy change or how they would want it more efficient. So the problem with the Ichimoku cloud is that a lot of people were getting it confused and they weren't able to identify when it was outside the cloud. So what I did was I created the trend meter down here so that you don't have to worry about, whether price is outside the cloud or inside the cloud. If it's trending down, it'll be red. If it's trending up, it'll be green. And if it's blue, that just means that it's neutral and price is going in both directions on different time frames. So the trend meter actually replaced the Ichimoku cloud, but you can still use the cloud if you want to. So I do have the cloud right here. So this is what you were talking about right here, right? The Ichimoku cloud. And basically for the cloud, price is above. So it's blue right here because it's on different sides on different time frames. But right here, you can see that price is below the cloud on 4 different time frames. That's why it's red right here. And similarly when it's green, it's just that I've simplified it so you don't have to have this cloud open. Because a lot of people would get confused. They wouldn't know if it was above or below because they'd have to be on multiple time frames at one specific time. But yeah, I'm gonna take this off so people don't get confused. Gotcha. Yeah. So Radimir said he's applying it on the 10-minute and 30-minute. So yeah, for this, Radimir, the trend meter would have to match the signal in order for there to be an entry. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a valid entry. So like this, for example, over here, you can see that we have a buy signal right here, and the trend meter is green right here, right? So if those match up, then that would be a valid entry right here. Stop loss would be down here for about, I don't know, we could just round it up to like maybe 2,000 pips. I don't trade gold, so I don't know if 2,000 pips is a lot or not. But if you were to take this trade right here, obviously it would have hit full TP right there. And then since then, it doesn't look like there was much available. So it doesn't look like there's one right here as well. This would have hit full TP as well right here, obviously. And then just looking at where price currently is over here, it doesn't look like there would be an entry on the 30-minute, because even if we got a sell signal right here, the trend meter is still blue. So this would have to be red down here in order for it to be a valid entry. Unless you're applying a different strategy. There's a whole bunch of other strategies to choose from right here. So I don't know if you're applying the intraday strategy, the pullback strategy, scalping strategy, the SR strategy, the pivot strategy, the US 30 strategy. There's a ton of options here. So depending on what you are applying, we could probably, move from there. Nice. Yeah. So Radimir said version 3 and got it 10 years ago. Yeah. So if you're applying that strategy, the intraday one, the indicators that you'll need is the K2 momentum indicator, which would be the K2 TS indicator. And then below down here, you would just need the trend meter. And then just make sure the settings are proper. So for the trend meter, I have it set to the intraday settings, which is 30-minute, 60-minute, 1 hour, and 2 hour. That way I know the overall trend for this specific day. Because obviously if you're trading intraday, you don't really care what the trend is, 2 weeks from now or a week from now. You just want to know what the trend is right now, because you're going to be getting in and out of that trade within, a couple hours or so. So let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Uzman said, gold is too manipulated, man. Yeah, and that's why I don't trade gold at all. But I mean, if you can make it work, it works. Obviously, you saw here that, with these entries over here, all these buys would have been straight wins. So if you can make it work, power to you. But for me, I don't like to take trades that are too risky. I like to take trades where I'm like pretty sure that they're going to win, because I'm more about accuracy versus quantity, especially with the accounts that I'm trading. Like I'm not trading a small account, so I'm not here to get lucky. I'm here to be consistently profitable, over the days, the weeks, the months, the years, stuff like that. And you guys will notice that once you start trading bigger accounts, it's not about like having big wins all the time. It's more so about eliminating your losses. Even the small wins will add up, and then you don't really need to go for those huge wins, because if you go for those huge wins all the time, odds are you're probably not going to hit it, and you might end up with a blown account. So always make sure that your risk management's on point and that you are doing things properly and not just gambling every time. Because that's how a lot of people blow their accounts. They literally just gamble. They trade with no strategy. They trade with all emotion, and they could never get out of drawdown because they don't know how to get out of their trades, once it goes into drawdown. Let's see. So Velocity said, I was testing the scalping and it really doesn't seem hard. Maybe I'll want to know Velocity. It is pretty easy. I mean, that's the thing with the K2 strategies. A lot of people don't believe that they're doing everything properly because I've made the strategy so simple. I mean, obviously, if you don't have the K2 indicators, it's going to be very difficult for you to identify the trend without being incorrect, or identifying momentum, which is something that majority of people can't identify. Obviously, I kind of went over how my thought process in identifying these momentum swings, but yeah, the indicators, it's pretty much straightforward. You literally just have to match. If they don't match, then there's no entry. And overall, when you keep applying the strategy, you're going to understand what I'm looking at. Like I mentioned before, basically, I look for certain things because I created the logic for these indicators. Like these indicators are for my brain. I literally put in, the requirements, the logic, exactly what I'm looking for, and that's how these signals are produced. They're not moving average crossovers. They're not EMAs. They're none of that stuff. Like whoever is like saying that's pretty stupid, because a lot of people think that this is similar to some other like some other indicator, but I created the indicator. So how could it be a copy of that? Some people just don't get it, but yeah, basically these are based on momentum. They're not based off moving averages. They're specifically based off momentum. Like you can see right here. See, if I take this off right here, you can see that price kind of comes up and then it establishes a high right here, right? I don't want to draw because it's gonna, yeah, see if I draw something else is gonna come up. But basically the way that I've created these indicators is I'm able to detect momentum swing. So right here, you can see it established a high. It was followed by a strong bearish candle, and then the momentum swung downwards, right? You turn on the indicator and there is a sell momentum candle right there. Same situation in the opposite direction. So we have momentum swinging down here. It establishes a low down here, and then you have this little push up, but it's not a clean push. So you get a buy signal, but it's not a strong push to the bullish side. So that's where you get a buy signal. Same situation right here. Price comes up, establishes a high. You see some bearish candles right here, and then you see a little pattern where it's like creating a small trend downwards, where it's going down this way. And then from there, you get a sell signal. See, right there, same situation here. It swings down, there's a low. You have these strong bullish candles, you get a buy signal. So the thing is, I created these indicators from scratch because I've been trading for so long and I'm able to see these things on the chart without having to have these indicators up. But for you guys, I guess I can't teach you guys what I'm looking at unless there's some sort of like visualization right here that I'm telling you that this is a momentum swing up, this is a momentum swing down. But I mean, some people just don't get it. They think that there's like some secret formula to it, which there is a secret formula to it, but it can be learned. So if you're able to identify these things on the chart, if you keep applying the strategy time and time and time again, you're going to be able to start seeing what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm trying to teach you guys. These indicators are meant as like training wheels. They're not meant as an end all be all. This is all you need. This is going to teach you to identify things on the chart to a point where you're not going to need the indicators, and then you'll be able to identify these things in your head like I do every day. But yeah, for a start, this is basically what it's meant for. All right, so let me get back to the questions right here. Let's see, Usman told Velocity, I agree with you, but when it comes to actually applying the live trade, your emotions start to kick in. Exactly. So the thing with backtesting is super easy, but the reason for backtesting is just to confirm that the strategy actually works. The real test comes when you test it live. And a lot of people ask me if I recommend that they test live on demo, or they trade real time on demo. And I never really advise that, because when you're trading demo, your emotions aren't involved. So you're going to take all these crazy lot sizes and you're like, oh, cool, I made like all this profit, right? And then when you go live, you just blow your account because you're more worried when you have money at risk versus when you're trading demo. So, my advice is to trade live, but just trade the bare minimum. Trade like a penny lot, 0.01, so that you're risking pennies, because even though you're risking pennies, your emotions are still going to kick in, and you're still going to have that feeling where you're going to be worried about your trades. But okay, so let me keep going down the questions. Dang, looks like US 30 pulled down a little bit, but it's fine. I'm not worried. I think it's going to come right back up. So let's see over here. All right, cool. So it looks like we're done with the questions for now. So guys, now I'm going to start on the zones. I'm going to zoom through these pretty quickly, guys, because I noticed that whenever we do the weekly chart analysis, I'm on here for like 5 hours because I take my time with the pairs. So if you guys have any specific pairs you guys want me to take my time on, if you guys want me to actually analyze them, then let me know. Otherwise, what I'm going to do here for everyone that's new, I'm basically going to draw these zones on the chart from scratch so that you guys can see where price is likely to reject from. So you can see these zones here from last week, and you can see that they still follow through to this week. So if price was to break this zone right here, odds are it's probably going to come up to this zone over here, and then it can either reject off it or break right through it and continue upwards. And the reason why this is beneficial for you guys is that you guys are going to have a solid framework where to trade and where not to trade. Like obviously you're not going to take a buy position right here because it's so close to the zone. You don't want to enter a buy position and then it reverses on you and then it hits your stop loss. You want to wait for it to break above it so that you can take that ride upwards. And you can see here, if I zoom out from here, these zones are very strong zones. Like these zones test way back to, let's see, so price is currently up here, right? This is tested back in September. It's tested back in August. It's tested in July. And then from July over here, you can see the last time that it tested again would be around this time last year. So the same exact zoned area where we have zones from today, they were tested back on November 16 of last year. So this same time, same day of last year, November, or not even November 18, 2018. So 2 years from now, 2 years ago on November 16, 2018 at 10 a.m. where, it's the same time, it was in the same exact price point. So history always repeats itself. And the thing is, if you have these zones on your chart, you can identify that this is going to be a strong zone, right? And this is going to help you out when determining whether you should take a trade or not. Because like I mentioned before, I only like to take trades where I know almost for certain that I'm going to win that trade. I'm not just going to take a random trade because my gut tells me, oh, it's going to go in that direction. No, I'm trading with my brain. I'm trading with strategy and with preparation versus, just entering a buy position here because you think it's going to go up. And then as soon as you enter that, so like this is what a person would enter, a buy position right here. But as soon as it reaches this zone right here and rejects off, they end up in a reversal. So that's why you guys have to be very careful with how you trade. And that's why I do this, because I want to give you guys an edge in the market so that you guys know what to look out for, when entering a trade. So let's start off with odd CAD right here. Like I mentioned, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to be going down this list in order from top to bottom. And if you guys have access to the K² website, everything is posted there. So if you go on the K² website right here, my watch list is available. You just go on the K² website, sign up for the free course or for the strategy course. You click on K² watch list right here, and then you can download my watch list right here. So you can either download it right here, or you can just copy my pairs from the list right here, if you guys want to follow exactly what I'm following. And these are the most profitable pairs using the K² strategies. I've done my back test on all of them. They have, well over a 70 to 75% win rate on every single pair here. Because like I mentioned, I like to win. I don't like to lose. So I'm only going to pick pairs that, have a higher percentage of winning versus other pairs that are also available. But yeah, guys, so let's get started here. I'm going to take these off the chart. So this is what a naked chart looks like, obviously. Zoom out right here, turn on the K2SR version 2 indicator. And there we go with those zones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my own zones over those specific zones like this right here. And you can see that sometimes there's like 3 or 4 zones right there. If they're really close to each other, then just put them into one zone to, clean up your chart. So same situation right here. We have this zone that connects to this zone right here. However, the next zone below it is only about 5-6 pips away. So I'm going to connect these two because I don't want to trade within these zones where price is likely to reject from. So again, right here, I'm going to draw this zone down here. Same situation right here, super simple. And then this one right here. And once you get closer to these zones that are super far from current price, you can be more lenient with these areas because price is so far away that it's probably not going to test these zones at any point in the near future. So I have these zones all lined up right here. I'm going to turn off the K2SR indicator. And then zooming out from right here, you can see that price is currently within this zone, right? So this next upper zone right here, I'm just going to skip this one because it's so close, and I wouldn't advise any buys until price breaks this zone. But the next zone up here is going to be 0.96463, and this lower zone down here is going to be 0.95486. And these are going to be crucial, crucial areas of rejection, because if price comes up here, you can see that it's tested right here already, right? So this could be considered like a double top. So once price reaches there, you can make the decision whether you want to, wait for that rejection to come down, or if price breaks above it and you're patient, you can pretty much ride that thing up. So there's going to be two different scenarios once price reaches that area, but until price breaks this zone right here, you're not going to have that opportunity. And if you're applying the K2 SR strategy, basically if price breaks this zone right here, we'll take a long position right there and pretty much ride it to the next zone, just like I mentioned, so that you can get out before price may reject from that area. Because if we were to enter a buy position right here, we can shoot up and hit our full TP. And then, price can do whatever it wants. It can, reject back down, or it can break above, but it wouldn't really matter because we've already hit our full TP at that point. So this is what I mean about these zones being very crucial and, giving you guys an edge in the market, because a lot of people aren't able to see these things. A lot of people like to, identify things differently, but I've been trading this way for years and it works out perfectly for me. So if you guys want to trade and be as profitable as I am consistently, then, learn from what I'm doing and do exactly what I'm doing, just mimic the way that I trade. Because if you guys have seen the results, you guys have seen my track record, for the entire year, because I trade every day. So you guys can follow my trades every single day. Let's see, Velocity said, Usman, if you think that you either win or lose risk 1%, you won't care what happens. Yeah, exactly, Velocity. I agree with you. And that's why I always recommend that you guys trade off risk percentage, because the thing is, our profitability is so high with our win rate that if you're just trading a 1-to-1 risk and you're risking the same amount each time, it's going to balance out at the end. So if you look back at our strategies, I mean, our results from, let's see. There's always people like messing with this. Let's see, wait. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and answer these questions later. But yeah, going back to the results over here. And I do this every time we go on the webinar because a lot of people aren't familiar with the results. But looking at the results here, these are the FX trades, right? So our win rate is super high. You can see right here that we've taken a total of, we've had 418 wins plus 143 losses. It looks like a lot of losses, but it's outweighed by the wins. So if you add those together, 418 plus 143, we've taken a total of 561 Forex trades this entire year from January until today. So out of those trades right there, you're going to divide 418 wins divided by the total of 561 trades. So you can see our win rate right now is about 75%, which is very good, taking into account this entire year. So if your win rate is above 50%, you should be profitable at this point if it's done properly. And right here with the profits, these are approximations because everyone takes different lot sizes. This is just for example, but regardless as to whether you're taking a standard lot, a mini lot, micro lot, you should still be profitable at this time. And then if we go down to our indices, I started trading indices in May. So same situation right here. What we do is we're going to add 72 plus 17 so we get the total trades. 72 plus 17, it's 89 trades, right? So we're going to divide 72 by 89. My win rate for US 30 is at about an 81% win rate. And everything's documented here. So if you want to go back and look at the previous trades, you guys can go ahead and do your own analysis of the results if you guys want to. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for those results. I'm going to go back and knock out this chart analysis. But if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask away. I'm gonna try to zoom through because it's 9:35 right now. So I'm gonna need to have everything done before we look for the next trades off the next 4-hour candle close. So let me just turn on this indicator right here. Zoom out from here. I'm going to draw these zones. So we got this zone right here. This zone right here. This zone right here. This zone right here. This one right there. This one over here. This one over here. And guys, once we get to this point where price is way up here and there's no upper zone, what I do is I go on the higher time frame, the 8-hour, and then identify the zones from that point. we go. And let's go back on the 4-hour right here. Turn off the indicator. And as you can see right here, price is stuck within these two zones right here. So yeah, so it was just like I mentioned before with odd CAD. You know how I mentioned that there's possibly a double top forming right here? Or yeah, it could be either right here, or if it pushes up, it'd be another double top from here and here. You can look here at odd CHF, the same thing played out right here. Price shot up over here, it established a double top, and then it came down, right? As this comes up again right here, this can be a triple top. So this might come up and reject right off here again. So, you know, that's just something to look out for if you're looking to take odd CHF. But I'll give you this zone, and this zone, so that you guys can have an understanding as to where, you know, the price can break from that point. So this upper zone right here is going to be 0.66993. This lower zone right here is going to be 0.66782. And again, this lower zone down here, just in case you guys want it, it's going to be 0.66652. So, I mean, there's a ton of opportunity right here. This could either push up because it is bullish right now. It can push up, reject off here, or like I mentioned, it can break above it and continue upwards. We'll have to wait and see how price reacts once it reaches, you know, this price zone right here, because this price zone is going to be very critical depending on, you know, however you decide to, you know, take that specific trade. So you guys have the parameters for odd CHF. We'll want to odd JPY over here. Delete these zones, turn on the K2SR indicator. All right, I'm gonna draw this zone up here. Draw this zone right here. Zone down here. There. It's gonna make a big zone down here. Price is so far from it. I don't expect it to come down anytime soon. All right, cool. There we go. I'm gonna turn off the indicator. And price is currently right here in between these two zones. So I'll give you this upper zone right here, which is 76.774. And this lower zone down here is going to be 76.176. So those are the two zones nearest the price right now. So this will be, let me see what I think it might be coming down because with the COVID news, or I don't know, actually it might be coming up because the COVID news was good. But yeah, it's going to be tricky because it's stuck within the zone right here. If price breaks below here, then I'm going to anticipate it to continue further down. However, if it, you know, if it breaks above, then it might continue back upwards. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see how price reacts to everything that's going on right now. So let me turn this off. Let's move on to the next one. And sorry if I'm moving fast, guys, but I need to have these zones set up before 10 p.m. I mean 10 a.m., which I'm probably not going to have. So I'm probably just going to have to look for trades before having all the zones done. And so this is one thing too, guys. Generally, the zones, if price doesn't move that much since the previous week, the zones are probably going to be in the same exact area. So if I hide my own zones, you can see that everything still lines up perfectly. We have this upper zone, this zone right here, this middle zone right here. You can see that they still line up perfectly. So if that's the case where they still line up perfectly, then there's no need to draw new zones. You just need to make the small adjustments to save you time so you don't have to go and, you know, redo everything like I did. Although it doesn't take that much time, it does save time, especially when we're in a time crunch like this right here, trying to get done before the 4-hour candle close. I'm going to hide this right here. Price is currently right here above this zone. Looks like price is rejecting from it. It might shoot right back up, but we'll see how that plays out. This lower zone right here is going to be 1.06005, and this upper zone right here is going to be 1.07028. And those are the two closest zones to odd NZD right now. Go over to odd USD over here. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna try to zoom through this because I need to make sure I'm able to identify any trades for the next candle close. So let me hide this right here. Looks like there's no zone right here. I'm gonna delete this. However, everything else looks perfectly fine. That upper zone might be from the 8-hour, which, yeah, we're correct. There you go. So looking at odd USD right here, price is currently within these two zones over here. This upper zone over here is going to be 0.73267. Sorry, I'm going to say that again. 0.73262. That was my bad. And this lower zone right here is going to be 0.72656. If I turn the momentum indicator, we have a buy momentum right here. So if price closes above this zone over here, then we can probably take a long position from there. But we'll see how that plays out, guys. I'll have to come back and look at that a little later. Actually, let me see if there's any entries that are possibly available right now as I zoom through this. Yeah, nothing there. So I'm going to move on to CAD CHF over here. I'm going to sit down, guys. I'm getting tired from standing. Get my desk going real quick. All right. So as my desk comes down, let's see if these zones are lined up properly. All right, cool. So it looks like, let me just do this from scratch because it looks a little messy. I think that there's a lot of movement from last week. Obviously, this big drop right here caused some new zones to be created. So let me close it off right there. Going to create this zone right here. Let's connect these two. These down there. And then again right there. Let's see if there's any entry here. So it looks like this could have been a late entry right here. Reason why I didn't call this is because that spike in price. And yeah, that spike in price could cause, some uncertainty in the market. So right here, this possible late entry, but I'm going to hold off on that and move on to the next one. So the zones for CAD CHF are going to be, this upper zone right here is going to be 0.70396, and this lower zone down here is going to be 0.69635. Move on to the next one, CAD JPY. Kyle said US 30 is still valid. Yeah, it's still valid. It hasn't hit TP or stop loss yet. So, until that happens, it's still going to be valid. Yeah, because we're still in it and it's still pushing up right now. We're probably going to get a buy signal and then it'll probably show up. I don't know. A lot of people like to ask if the trades are still valid. They're still valid until I give an update. I haven't said to it, move stop loss up, or if it's hit TP. The thing is, if it hits TP, you got to move your stop loss up to TP1 to follow the exit strategy. But until that happens, there's going to be no, it's still going to be valid. The only reason it'd be invalid is if it hits TP or if it hits stop loss, because at that point, it's too late to enter the trade late. So it should be fine. And, it's a game of patience. A lot of people get impatient. They're like wondering, oh, what do I do next? What do I do next? It's simple. Just don't do anything. Just wait for it to hit TP or wait for it to hit stop loss. Because a lot of people have been messaging me. I got 14 messages right now. It's probably, I haven't looked at them yet, but it's probably a bunch of people just asking me what they should do. Nothing's changed. It's always been the same since, everyone's joined K2. It's either it hits TP or it hits stop loss. Until one of those happens, it's still a valid trade. But yeah, it still looks fine. So I'm going to go back to my chart analysis and then I'll go back to that later. There's really no point because I know a lot of people are just staring at US 30 right now, right? That's probably the worst thing for you to do because you're just stressing yourself out. Just set your trade and then leave it alone. And then, once something happens, you'll get an update in the group. But no update's been sent, so there's nothing that's changed. We're still waiting for it to hit TP1 or full TP. But like I mentioned, it's all a game of patience. Can't be impatient. You just gotta let your trade do what it's supposed to do. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, CHF JPY. Like I mentioned, it's only 9:46 right now, but the 4-hour candle closes in about 14 minutes. So that's why I gotta speed through this. So if you guys have questions, I'll try to get back to you guys in a little bit. But main focus right now is drawing these zones out so that people can have the zones ready before the candle close. Just for all these right here. Hassan said US 30 pushing down hard, or what do you think? I don't think it's pushing down hard at all, bro. I mean, it's just like what I just discussed earlier. You guys have to be patient. Unless you have your own analysis on it, which indicates that you think it's going to come down, then, feel free to share your analysis. But just because it's pushing down temporarily, like it's doing right now, this doesn't mean that it's pushing down heavy. It's only pushed down how many pips from right here. So price came up right here. It's only pushed down like 600 or 700 pips. It's not that big of a difference. You see these big movements here. So market opened right here. It pushed up 2,000 pips, nearly 2,100 pips. That would be considered a big push. This is barely a small pullback. I know a lot of people here are new to trading, and you guys aren't good at really identifying if something's really going one direction. But I wouldn't get scared of this little push right here. This happens, if you look at the charts, this happens all the time. It goes up and it comes down. There's no reason for it to go in one direction forever. So it's going to go up, it's going to go down. And I think you just got to work on your trade psychology, because a lot of people get scared of these trades, and it's because you're just not, you're not experienced enough to understand that trades are supposed to go back and forth. They're not supposed to just go in one direction at one time all the time. Like with the trade last week, the trade on Friday, where was the trade at? The trade on Friday was over, where was it at? It was a 13. Yeah, it was 13. So the trade on Friday was somewhere right here. Yeah, this was our entry right here. And so many people were freaking out. They were like, people were complaining and freaking out. They're like, oh, did it hit stop loss, stop loss? Did it hit stop loss? No, it didn't. And then as soon as it shot right back up, everyone became quiet. And it's just like, it's a game of patience, and it's a game of trade psychology. If you're not able to stomach this like little pullback right here in order to reach the full potential, then that's probably something that needs to be worked on, because trade psychology is the reason why people, blow their accounts or fail at trading. Like right here, I'm sure a lot of people exited this trade. I was looking at the chat, and it was pulling down like right here, and people started to exit their trade. And I'm like, all right, go ahead and exit your trade. As soon as they exit their trade, it went straight to full TP. And then everyone in the group was just laughing because we all hit full TP while people took a loss, when you could have just been patient and waited for it to hit full TP. But yeah, I mean, that's something that you guys have to work on if you guys aren't familiar with holding the trade and being patient. Because even though it's pulling back like this doesn't mean that it's coming down hard. In a few minutes, maybe like by 10 o'clock, it's going to shoot right back up. And it's just something that comes with experience with trading. But yeah, Hassan, I don't see any pushing down hard or anything that you mentioned. If you guys think it's coming down, then just send your analysis, and then we can compare what I see and what you see. But I think right now it's perfectly fine. It's right at entry, literally. And it's probably going to shoot up once this candle closes. But okay, let me go back to the FX trades, guys. I don't have time to redraw all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to identify everything on my own. I'm just going to go in and look for trades on my own before I finish these zones. And then we're going to go through the chart analysis again as soon as time opens up, because we have 10 minutes for the next candle close. I want to make sure we identify these trades before it closes. See, Peter said, too many people see other people making 3-4 figure profits per trade, and greed hits them. Yeah, exactly. I didn't get to my trading level overnight, guys. Like, a lot of people think that this can be mastered in like a week or a month or so. I've been trading for 10 years. So this, my skill with trading has developed over the years. It wasn't like I was good all of a sudden. I literally practiced and I grinded every single day until I was able to actually understand everything efficiently. Because some people understand how to analyze charts, but it takes them like hours or even days sometimes just to identify something. For me, I can just take a quick glance at the chart like I'm doing right now and identify these entries. So we have one right here. Let's kind of close to this zone though, so I'm probably not going to take that one. Let's see, KJPY. This could possibly be an entry right here. I'm zooming through the charts, guys. Right now, we have about 8 minutes for the next candle close. Just want to make sure there's any entries before we focus on all that other stuff right now. Well, let's see. I mean, this could be a late entry, but I'm probably not going to call it. See if there's an upper zone. It's exactly why it rejected. Rejected off that upper zone right there. So we're not going to take that trade. It's too close to that zone. It literally rejected off it. So I'm going to take this off. EG right here. Yeah, nothing there. EJ. This is our EJ that we had from last week. It had full TP already, but there's no new entries at this point. Maybe EN if it breaks below. So there's a lower zone right there. Yeah, no lower zone there. Or actually there is, but it's super far down. We go on the daily. I think that's from the daily, right? Not even, it's from the weekly probably. Yeah, it's from the weekly. All right, cool. So we got that set up right there for EN. Might be calling it, but we'll see how this plays out. We'd have to close below that zone for there to be an entry. Looking at EU right here, it's too close to the next zone. GA, nothing right there. GCAD, no, it's too close to the zone. Nothing there. Nothing there. Yeah, it looks like there's no entries right now. It's unfortunate. I was hoping to kick off the week with some new trades, but it doesn't look like there's really anything worth taking right now. You know, obviously I'm not going to force any trades, but yeah, it's too late for this one. GU. This one closed at the last candle close, but it was a risky trade. Possibly NZD CAD. See if we can get an upper zone right here. The daily. All right, so this might be an entry here for NZD CAD. We will, yeah, I might call it just to call it because you know the group gets some people get super impatient if there's no trades available. But I mean, this looks like probably the best one available right now, currently, until like these provide for any. Yeah, it doesn't look like the market looks pretty crazy today, actually, guys. If you look at how price is moving, especially for the JPY and Swiss franc pairs, it's kind of bouncing around pretty heavy. So we might call this trade right here, but I'll wait and see. It looks like all of the NZD pairs are kind of bullish right now. This is one that I would want to call, but it's seems a bit risky with the JPY with how it's been moving. So look at the JPY right here. Let me see if they're all bullish. They're not all bullish. That's the thing. It's only certain pairs that are bullish. But overall, it looks like the NZD is kind of strong. Okay, move this one right here too. NZD USD. USD CAD, nothing right there. So the only available pairs that it looks like are probably going to be, I mean, NZD CAD is obviously gonna be the first available pair. Let me go and see if these, I don't think this is even there. All right, so NZD CAD might be the only decent entry right now. I might even just call this NZDJPY right here. I'm trying to figure out where these zones are coming from. No upper zone on there. Yeah, this is usually why I like to have the zone set up already before the week starts, because this makes things a whole lot easier when identifying things. NZD USD. Let's make sure these zones are cool. Let's go on 8 hour. Yeah, yeah, it looks like the NZD hasn't been in this price area for a long time. That's why there's no zones that are up there. But yeah, hopefully this closes. If this closes, then we can take actually, we can just take it already. Let's see where the USD pairs are going. USD pairs are coming up as well. UJ. Honestly, everything's kind of risky right now, but I think NU is probably the our safest bet right now. Trading view is kind of lagging. Slowed up a little bit. Yeah, I think this would probably be the best pair for us to take right now. So I'm just gonna send it out like this. See if it fills up. I think it'll fill. It's gonna be a small move though. It's only 35 pips. So nothing too crazy. Dude, trading view is so laggy right now. All right, let's go. Put this up on here real quick. Probably a buy limit though. NZUSD. Yeah, guys, and this is pretty much how I call the, for you guys that are new here, this is how I call the signals. It's super simple. If you understand the K2 strategies, and for a lot of people, they don't follow the signals, directly. Mostly what people do is they use the signals for an extra confirmation, not necessarily follow them from that's the specific signal call, because there's a lot of ways to do it. But for me, I specifically use the K2SR strategy. All right, so that's good right there. Yeah, I got a ton of questions over here, so I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna get to those questions later, guys. If you guys send me a question on Telegram, I do have like 14 messages here, so I will. I'll get to your questions soon, but let me finish up with this chart analysis real quick before I get to that point. So let me check my email real quick. let me just send this out real quick. All right, let me send this out real quick. All right, so everyone's got the it looks like US30 keeps bouncing up to entry and then it comes right back down. Should be fine. Let's get everyone's questions. One second, guys. Sorry, I got to do some back housework real quick. Let me help out with this, and then let me check this real quick. I'm checking the trade talk real quick. Aaron said, "Don't start." All right, let me keep going through the. Sorry, I keep getting messages. I'm gonna keep going through the chart analysis. I think I left off on CHF/JPY, and then let's keep going down the list. So let me see if there's any other questions before we continue. Let's see. Velocity said, "Sorry, I was in the gym quickly. You said to find the values, you just subtract 90 to 20 from trading view or add it to, and you got the values." Yeah, and DJ said, "Yes, velocity, but varies from day to day. What I do is just look at the price on TradingView and price on FTMO and calculate the difference before entering a new trade." Cool, so velocity got it. Say, sorry, velocity said, see, thanks. I saw you say that you can use the velocity. I wouldn't use the YM1 data. That was only because we were trying to figure out what the difference was with pricing, but that specific symbol's for the future data. So that number might be a little different. So I wouldn't use that anymore. I mean, you can if you want. It's probably going to be more accurate to FTMO, but it's easier for you to just do the math. It's basic, simple math. You just, compare the prices and then you subtract 120 pips from it, which is not, it's not difficult at all. And I think the data for currency.com is a lot more accurate. Okay, so Velocity said, yeah, exactly. So for trade, like if you're using TradeStation or a specific futures broker, then you should use their data. But if you're not, you should just stick to currency.com because they probably have the most accurate data. And you just have to do, basic math to set it up where it could be the same as FTMO data. Velocity, you can connect it to TradingView and get free future data. I mean, it's already available, Velocity. You don't have to do anything for that. You could just type in, what was it, the symbol? YM1, and it should already be available on yours. So you can see here, it should already be available. I don't think there's anything that you need to do for. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. So you have TradeStation. That makes a lot of sense now. Because I was like, I wouldn't use that personally, but since you are using TradeStation, you can use it pretty easily. So how do you like TradeStation velocity? I was thinking about switching over to there, so I don't have to trade on Hugo's way. But I'm just so used to Hugo's way where I'm kind of just stuck on it now. But I'm still thinking about switching over to TradeStation. I don't know anyone that's actually used it personally, so I haven't made the effort to really look at it just yet. But I mean, we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, I might take a look at it again because once I start trading more and more money on Hugo's way, I mean on US 30, I don't really want to be trading it on Hugo's way. If there's a safer option, I obviously would prefer to use something that's US regulated. All right, guys. So sorry for the delay. We had a lot of questions and a lot of stuff that I had to cover real quick. But I'm going to get back to the chart analysis here for the majority of you guys who just want the zones for the week. So let me go back to honestly, I can't remember if I went over CAD, CHF, JPY. So I'm just going to give you guys the zones again on this one. So looking at the zones here, they line up with the same zones from last week. So there's no changes that need to be made. So price is currently within these two zones right here. We still have an active trade from last week, which is currently in profit. And we're still anticipating it to drop further to hit our full TP. This upper zone right here is going to be 114.870. And this lower zone down here is going to be 114.200. We're just going to round that down. So that's for CHF JPY. We'll move on to the next one, Euro odd. And so for Euro odd over here, sorry, trading view is running really slow today, guys. So looking at Euro odd right here, I'm just going to delete all of these and start fresh because the zones look pretty new. So I'm going to draw this upper zone right here. Draw this zone right here as well. This one right here too. This one right there. This lower zone over here. This zone right there. And then this one right here. And then again, this lower zone over here. So we got all the zones lined up right here for Euro odd. This upper zone right here is going to be 1.63082, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.61523. So basically, if price comes down, it looks like we have this momentum coming downwards. Two scenarios can play out once we reach this this area right here. So once price reaches this area right here, it can either reject off it or it can break below it and continue down further. But we would really have to just wait and see how price reacts once it reaches this specific price zone right here. Because for this price zone right here, it can establish, some sort of double bottom right here if it comes down and rejects off it, or it can break right through it. There's two specific scenarios that can play out right here. However, we do have a sell momentum. So if this closes below this zone, then we can enter a short position, and I anticipate this to shoot down further to hit our TP, basically. So that's it for Euro odd right there. Let me check the messages real quick. Looks like we have some confusion here. Let me see. Man, I gotta get these. Sorry, I just saw a couple other stuff in the chat I had to respond to. But yeah, guys, so that's Euro odd right there. This upper zone right here is going to be 1.63082, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.61523. So that's Euro odd right there. Move on to the next one, Euro CAD. I'm gonna try to zoom through this, guys, because I know a lot of you guys just want the zones, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. So I'm going to get through this, and then I can go back to the questions once we get to that point. But yeah, let me clean up this chart a little bit. Looks like there's Move this down a little bit. Yeah, everything else looks pretty much fine right here. So price is currently right here in between these two zones. This upper zone right here is going to be 1.55010, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.54383. So those are the two zones right there, closest to current price for Euro CAD. Move on to the next one, Euro CHF right here. Delete this right here. Let's check out these zones over here. So there's no zones up there. I'll have to look up those zones again. So let's see. Move that down from there. Yeah, other than that, it looks pretty much cool for the most part. We just need to get this upper zone over here. Go over here on the 8-hour. Maybe that one right there. Zoom this up a little bit. Yeah, so that looks about it. Let's go to the 4-hour. Looking at price right here, price is currently within these two zones. This upper zone is going to be 1.08141, and this zone right here is going to be 1.08007. So those are the two zones closest to price currently. And yes, it looks like it's consolidating sideways, and it'll probably break above or break below at some point. But until then, it's probably just going to consolidate sideways. And we won't really have an entry until it breaks above or breaks below. We'll see how that plays out. So that's it for Euro CHF right there. We'll look at Euro GBP. Check out these zones over here. Delete this one up here. There's nothing up there. Looks like these can be split up into two zones. Actually, no, price is so far from it that it's not even going to reach that area anytime soon. So there's no point in us really merging those zones right there. Let's delete this one. This looks like that can be brought down here. And yeah, everything looks good from that point. Go ahead and hide these zones. Price is currently within these two zones right here. This upper zone is going to be 0.89838. And this lower zone right here is going to be 0.89680. So those are the two zones closer to current price. We can check the momentum direction. So it looks like we have a buy momentum here, but it rejected off it. So it looks like if we get a sell momentum, like we did look right here with the sell signal, and it closes below the zone right here, then we can enter a short position. But until that happens, there's probably going to be no entry until it breaks above it or breaks below it. It looks like it'd be better if it breaks below it because we have all this open area right here, versus if it breaks above this way, it's going to have so many points of rejection. It can reject from here. It can reject from here. It can reject from here. So there's just more risk involved if you're taking a buy for EG, and I'd prefer for it to close below. So let's move on to the next one. Here's Euro JPY over here. Let me go ahead and turn on the K2SR version 2 indicator right there. Looks like, sorry, let me hide that there. There's no zone right here. Delete that. Yeah, everything else looks fine here, guys. So I'm going to provide these zones right here. So price is currently right here between these two zones. This upper zone right here is going to be 124.184, and this lower zone down here is going to be 123.591. So those are the two zones closest to current price. It looks like it's currently in a downtrend right now. So it's currently in a downtrend. Our momentum is signaling downward. So right here, we enter the short position for full TP at some point over here, like 40 pips. And it's probably going to continue down. The only problem with this right here is that price is going to have to close like way down here for us to make an entry. It's gonna have to be way down here because we're not gonna enter any sells if it's within this area because it can reject off here or it can reject off here. That way we would wait for it to close below here so that we can catch a profit before it either rejects off there or continues down further. And it gives us a decent leeway for about a 30 pip profit right here. So we can make an exit before it makes a rejection off any of these points. So those are the 2 points for Euro JPY. Move on to the next one, Euro NZD. So this would have been an entry right here if it closed below. However, it didn't close below yet. So maybe within the next couple hours, when the next candle closes, we can possibly enter a short position if it closes below this point. So looking at these zones right here, Euro NZD is kind of a messy pair because it keeps bouncing around so much. But it looks like these are the proper zones for this specific pair. So price is currently within the zone right here. I'm just going to give you guys the upper and lower ends of the zone so that you guys can identify whether it breaks below. You can enter a short position, or if we get a buy signal and it closes above, then you can enter a buy position. So for right here, the upper zone is going to be 1.72221. And this lower zone right here is going to be 1.71631. So those are the 2 zones closest to current price. And whether price breaks below, you can enter a short. If price gives a buy signal and it closes above it, then you can enter a buy. But currently, we're just going to have to wait for price to either break above it or break below it before we can make a determination whether it's going to be a good entry or not. So looking over here at Euro USD, let's see. So yeah, we got all the zones pretty much lined up, similar to how it was from last week. So I'm just going to delete this one up here. Price isn't up there anymore. And then give you guys the parameters from this point. So price is currently within these 2 zones right here. This upper zone is going to be 1.18736, and this lower zone right here is going to be 1.18312. So it's going to give you the 2 closest zones to current price. Let's move on to the next one, GBP Auto over here. Let me go ahead and turn on the K²SR indicator. So looking at this point right here, looks like this zone right here moved up a bit. Anything else? All right, cool. Delete this one down here. Yeah, looking at GA right here. Price is currently within these 2 zones right here. This lower zone right here is going to be 1.80296, and this upper zone over here is going to be 1.81112. So let me turn on the momentum indicator. It looks like it has a sell momentum, which I'm right. Right there is a sell momentum candle. And once price breaks below the zone right here, then we can enter a short position from that point. But until then, there's not going to be any entry because look, if you look at price where it's rejected here in the past, these are very strong support zones. So just looking at these zones right here, you can see that whenever price came down to the zone, it rejected right off it, right? So price, even till let's see, this is September. It's been testing the zone since September of this year. So right here, price comes down, rejects off the zone. Again, right here, it just keeps rejecting off the same support zone. So what happens here is if price comes to this area or this area right here, odds are it's probably going to reject off it. So that's why we're waiting for it to close below this zone so that we can have confirmation that it's going to drop. So you can see right here, the last time it dropped below it, it dropped way down here, enough to hit our TP. So that's it for GA right there. You guys have the 2 zones. Like I mentioned, we're just gonna have to be patient and wait for price to close below the zones before we can make an entry for this specific pair. Looking at GCAD over here, let's pull up the K²SR indicator. So let me just redraw these zones right here. Since price kind of moved all over the place for this pair, so it'd be a lot easier if we just redrew the zones over here. So yeah, we got that upper zone right there. I'm just gonna make these kind of wide because GCAD is a bit of a sketchy pair. It's kind of like all over the place, sort of. So hide this right there. Looking at the zones right here, you can see that it has some strong zones where it's tested this area in the past, countless times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it just keeps testing around that certain area for a long period of time, all the way back from July. So looking at the zone right here, price is currently within 2. This upper zone right here is going to be 1.72909, and this lower zone right here is going to be 1.72278. So if we have a sell momentum right here, which I'm pretty sure we do, yeah, exactly. So we had a sell momentum right there. If you took this entry over here to this next zone, you would have locked in about 50 pips. But this was from last week. So basically what we're doing right here is we're waiting for the same thing to happen. We're waiting for price to break below this zone. This might be a possible entry. This would be an even better entry if it breaks below this zone down here so that we can ride that downwards. So this looks good over here for GCAD. Sorry, I can't remember if I gave you guys parameters, but this upper zone right here is going to be 1.72909. And this lower zone right here is going to be 1.72283. Yeah, so those are the two zones right there. Hopefully we have some movement up until Asia session later, and then we could possibly make some entries. So that's GCAD right there. Move on to GCHF right here. Turn this off. Dang, looks like the zones are super far off. So let me just redraw these zones over here. Or actually, they look fine. It was just, actually, I'm just gonna redraw because these are super messy. So price is right here. And for these lower zones over here, it does, price is so far from all of these down here that we could just make big zones. And then, when price comes down further, we can go ahead and make changes to reflect price down here. But price is so far up here, what might happen here is price might just shoot right back up from this point. So that's why there's really no point in us focusing down here. Next up, we just need a higher zone to confirm the ceiling here in case price shoots back up. So I'm just going to draw this one right here. And we actually have a zone right here on the daily. So I'm just going to draw this right here as well. The 4-hour over here. So yeah, looking at the 4-hour right here, guys, it looks like this zone is going to be, so we did get a sell signal. I think if we get a buy signal, it'll probably shoot up from here and retest this zone up here. So for this right here, we have, let's see. We have a price between these two zones. This upper zone over here is going to be 1.21721. And this lower zone right here is going to be 1.20360. So that's it for a GBP CHF right there. This is generally a slow moving pair. So we'll probably have to to just keep watching it until we get that buy signal. Because me personally, I probably wouldn't want to take it if it drops below here, because there's only so much space from this area to this area to make some profit, about 20 pips. It's a risky trade to take. So I personally probably wouldn't take that until it breaks either way down here, or if it just gets a buy signal and pushes back up here, because that'd be more beneficial for you. All right, looking at GBP CHF over here. GBP GJ. So we're going to, sorry, my brain's all over the place. I keep looking over to these other pairs. So let's see, we have, it looks super messy. So I'm just going to delete everything and start off fresh right here. We have this upper zone over here. Got this lower zone right there. That's going down there. All right, we got these two zones over here. And this last one down here. All right, so we're all good with the zones. Price is currently right here. It's kind of similar. It's moving very similar to GC over here. GPCHF. kind of looks mirror-like. So it's like it came up, rejected off this point, came down, rejected off this point, and then now it's going sideways. Similar with GJ over here. Price came up, rejected off this point, came down, rejected off this point, and now it's going sideways as well. So it looks like it's dropping. Turning on the momentum indicator right here. Same situation. We do have a sell momentum. So whoever took this trade right here would have made a huge profit right there for about 118 pips. Basically right here, we have to wait for price to close below the zone. And then we take a short position right there. Or if price rejects off this point like it did over here, and we get a buy signal and it shoots up, then we could take a buy position right there. But yeah, until then, there's probably not going to be anything worth really looking at because there's going to be so many zones right here. Like I wouldn't take any sell positions because I would hate for me to get into a sell position and it rejects off there and shoots right back up. Same situation down here, price comes down, rejects right back up. You just don't want to be on the wrong side of the trade. So for GJ right here, this upper zone is going to be 139.839. And this lower zone right here is going to be 137.541. So those are the two zones between current price for GJ right now. And then we will have to, man, it looks like US 30 is dropping right now. Let me check the news real quick. That's what I keep looking at right now. I'm like wondering what's causing the drop. Any news? No, so the ECB spoke at 5 a.m. There was no news from now until then. Let's see what's going on. See if you get the IG sentiment for US 30 right now. See, this is what I meant about the week being like early in the week, the market just gets kind of crazy. There's no, I mean, it's weird because if you're looking at the Dow right here, everything's in the positive. The Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, the VIX, everything is bullish. But for some reason, it just started dropping. So I'm assuming something happened in the news causing it to drop. But yeah, this thing's dropping like crazy right now. So I should have moved my stop loss up. Let's see. There's a ton of people short right now. 69% of people are short for the Dow. But looking at the news right here, it's just a bunch of people are shorting it. But looking at CNBC over here, everything looks pretty bullish. Let's see. NCAA planning on March Madness in one city. Here's how election results, vaccine news could shake up the outlook for coronavirus stimulus. I mean, this could have affected the market too, but this was like 30 minutes ago. So I wasn't really expecting this to drop like that. I don't know if there's anything else going on in the news. Let me see. Yeah, nothing for there right now. Putting fairies at the core. Vaccine rollout could cause US dollar to fall. So this might have affected it. I don't know if it would have affected it that much though. Okay, so yeah, vaccine rollout could cause US dollar to fall 20%. Well, that's like for next year. It's not really right now. I'm trying to figure out what's causing this drop. Let's see, viable. Yeah, I don't really see this affecting the market currently. It just seems like a huge spike down, and now it's starting to recover. So, this might have been to just stop people out, like a stop loss hunt, which something like that you can't really avoid. And that's why our stop loss is placed in a specific area to avoid getting caught in anything like that. Yeah, guys, sorry, I had to take a break from the chart analysis to see what's going on, because I don't see any news here causing any sort of drop in the market. I'm not watching CNBC live right now because I'm doing the chart analysis, but I'm trying to just put the pieces together to figure out what's really going on in the market. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything here really available to to give us any insight as to why that dropped. But it's all right. I mean, our trade's still active. I'm still holding it. See, this is breaking news. Dow jumps 380 points. It's record high as hope. Yeah, so it's probably people just selling off their positions. That's what it seems like, because it pushed up so high, 380 points. So people are just selling off their positions, and then people are hopping on that drop as well. Let me see what's going on over here. Velocity said, on your chart, you drew a support line that could fall to form consolidation. Velocity is going to text me. I'm going to see what he means by that. Let's see. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that old zone that I created below, huh? So let me go ahead and draw those zones on the chart right now too. We'll see. Well, it's pushing back up. This is exactly what happened on Friday. Everyone was freaking out. And it was funny because a lot of people were saying, "Why'd you buy last Friday?" And they hit full TP. So, if unless you guys have an analysis to back up, whatever your theory is on a trade, it's kind of hard for us to really find middle ground, because not everyone, just because you have a hunch that's going to come down for a double top, that doesn't mean it's going to come down. It could still go the opposite direction. And that's why I don't trade price action directly. So looking at, there's no zones here on the 30 minutes. So let me go on the 10 minute actually. Yeah, there's a huge support area right here. So this would be a huge support area, and this would be as well. And I did hit some resistance right here. But so here's the thing right here. A lot of people are like, oh, this was a resistance, but dude, look how big this resistance is. Even if price was to, check this out, if price was to break above this resistance right here, price could still shoot up and hit our full TP. So just because there's a resistance there. So here, guys, this is what I mean by the zones. Like even with the Forex charts, this is why I give out scenarios. A lot of people, they'll think that, oh, just because it hits, this point, it's going to come down because it's a double top. That doesn't always play out. Sometimes it comes up and it breaks right through it, right? So the thing with a lot of people who trade, they have only one side of viewing. Well, with a lot of traders, they only have one way of analyzing the chart. And most of the time they're not right, because they analyze it the same way that everyone else analyzes it. And if you trade the same way everyone else is trading, odds are you're probably not going to last in the trading game. And that's just how it is, because everyone tries to trade the same way. Like right here, if someone was to see this right here, or even right here, right? So if you're a normal price action trader, you're going to be like, oh yeah, this is a quadruple top, 1, 2, 3, 4. What do people do? They enter a short position, right? Like right here, because they think it's going to come down. And then as soon as they enter that position, what happens? Because the thing is, everyone is looking at the same thing. Everyone's anticipating this to come down, right? So what do the market makers and institutions do? They push it in the opposite direction this way. And then whoever took that trade got stopped out. So this is like one way that I always try to emphasize, that you guys have to analyze a position from both directions. You can't just analyze it just because there's, a double top, triple top, whatever top right here that's going to come down. You have to analyze it to understand that price can also break above it and continue upwards. Because I did see a lot of people lose money on GJ recently, and I was like, dude, you guys can't just keep analyzing it from one side, because there's a ton of ways that price can move. But yeah, looking at US 30 right here, I'm not sure what caused the drop really. The only thing that could really have caused a drop was people selling off their positions because they thought it was overbought. Let me check the RSI. But yeah, it hasn't been overbought territory for a while. So I don't know. Things like this happen in the market all the time. It's the same situation that happened on Friday. over here when people were complaining that, why'd you enter a buy? And I'm like, well, we entered a buy because it fulfills the requirements, obviously, like right here. So we entered this long position right here. And then a lot of people are complaining that we shouldn't have entered a buy. But the difference between me and the person that's complaining is that I actually know what I'm doing. So a lot of people were crying that we entered a position right here that they thought was at resistance, right? So, just replaying to what we did yesterday, people were complaining because they were like, why would you enter a buy right there when it was at resistance? And that's the thing. You can't just think one way, because people are crying about being in a buy and then it ends up hitting full TP. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess you were right. Obviously I was right because I knew what I was doing. So it just doesn't help that, if people want to complain about a trade, then have some analysis to back it up so that we can both look at it. Because I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that I'm wrong. I'm saying that there's more than one way for a trade to play out. There's not just one way, because a lot of people think there's just one way of trading, which there obviously isn't, because majority of people that trade that one way don't do well at trading. So yeah, I'm always open to discussion, guys. If you guys think that this should have been a sell, then we can talk about it. But if you're just going to say, oh, it should have been a sell, but you have no analysis to back it up, then there's really nothing that we can talk about, because there's no other opinion there to go back and forth with. But okay, so let me go back through this. Yeah, velocity, I agree. It looks like it came down, it rejected off this support that we both looked at earlier, and then it's, coming back up. But I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. The thing is that there's nothing that we can do about it, because this drop happened for whatever reason. Usman said in the premium chat, they posted some tweets from Trump. Yeah, that could have been it too, because oh, nice. Okay, I see. Yeah, I could see that being the reason why it dropped. I mean, that always happens. Like, this would happen sometimes when we were super deep in profit. We're like almost to our full TP, and then Trump just randomly sends a tweet out, and then it just shoots price in the other direction, or it shoots price in our direction. So there's a ton of different ways. I mean, there's a bunch of different reasons why this would drop, but there's like no news really indicating what caused it to drop. There's nothing that I can really pull out of like whatever our resources are here that would have give us reason to understand why it dropped. Obviously we want to understand why it dropped, but in some situations there's nothing that we can really do about it. We just have to roll with it and see how it plays out. But yeah, I'm gonna stop looking at US30, because I know a lot of people they just get too involved with like a single trade. Like for this, if this hits stop loss, it's fine, because we hit, how many TPs did we hit last week? And that's the same situation that I always mention, that a lot of people don't understand risk management and they like to over leverage on like one trade, and then they end up blowing their account, and it was because of their fault for over leveraging. But looking at the trades from last week, we had 5 trades for US30 last week. We had 4 wins and 1 loss. The losses happen. You just have to accept the loss sometimes. But we always end up bouncing back. So we ended up in profit, but we'll just have to wait how this plays out. Dang, it dropped again further. Yeah, I don't know what's causing the drop, guys. I'm still gonna hold on to it though. I'm not gonna let go. I'm not gonna close it just because it's dropping, because it can bounce right back up. Yeah, I don't see anything here causing the drop. I keep refreshing the news feeds because I want to see what's going on. Yeah, nothing there. I mean, we'll just wait and see what plays out. I'm already in the hole of this deep, so I'm just gonna hang on to it. It's not gonna make a difference for me. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Let's see. Usman said, or no, sorry, Velocity said also though, don't some trades just lose in your first? Yeah, exactly, Velocity. Like some trades just I mean, they just lose. There's no way of how are we going to like predict that this drop was going to happen at a random, you know? A lot of people think that you're able to predict the future, but you're not. And there was no way to identify this. This was in profit for, you know, a decent time before it dropped. So there's like nothing that you could have done to really predict that this drop was coming, unless there was news. The only thing I could think of is that Trump thing that sent out over here, that Forex trader sent out. Yeah, he basically said, George, let's look at the important signature match. Yeah, it's just causing a lot of uncertainty in the market every time, you know, Trump sends something out. Man, I can't wait for Trump to be out of the house. He's like, everything he says causes like some crazy spikes in price. But all right, let me get back to these the zones for the charts, just so that you guys can have it. You know, sorry I keep going back and forth, because the thing is, generally we have the chart analysis separate from the webinar, but today we had it together just so that you guys can have, you know, everything all at once. But let's keep going down real quick. I'm not going to bother looking at US 30 because it's just going to keep bouncing around. And then we will see how this plays out, you know, a while from now. Let's see. But yeah, so let's go back to our chart analysis. So right here for GN, turn the V2S R indicator. Hey Ron, how's it going? Looks like Ron just joined the room. Let me go ahead and, so all the zones are pretty much the same. The only difference is probably this zone right here. All right, so we got that zone. And then we got that lower zone right there. And then it looks like everything else pretty much lines up, aside from this one over here. Sorry guys, let me delete this in the chat. I hate these little scammers that keep posting their little stuff in the chat. But okay, so let me adjust this right here. Adjust this right here. And yeah, this looks pretty much good for the most part. Let me turn this off. It's a big zone between here and where price currently is, the upper zone and the lower zone. So this upper zone right here is going to be 1.93466, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.91439. And this is where price currently is. So if we look at this from a momentum perspective right here, we have a sell momentum. So if price closes below this zone, then we can take a short position right there. However, we really won't know how it's going to move until price actually breaks below, because what could happen here is price can reject off this point. We get a buy signal like it did right here, and then we could possibly take a long position instead. So we'll have to see how price reacts to this zone right here, and then we'll have to see the direction of momentum. So if momentum is going up, obviously we take a buy. If momentum is a sell and it breaks below here, we obviously take a sell. So that's it for GN right there. Sorry, let me just read this again for you guys. It's 1.93466, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.91431. So those are the two zones closest to current price. Go down to GU over here. For GU over here, let me see where the zones are. So yeah, it looks like for this one right here, trying to find out, I'm just delete it and draw a new one. And then we got this lower zone right here. All right, cool, looks good. All right, so where price currently is right here, the closest upper zone is going to be 1.32624, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.31767. So those are the two zones closest to current price, and that's it for GU right there. me see if I turn on the momentum indicator. Yes, we did have a buy signal right here. This would actually be a, or actually we would have missed it because the entry would have been right here. And looks like it might have hit TP or somewhere near there. Yeah, so for that entry right there, it'd still be technically active on its way to full TP. We won't really have an entry until price either closes below here and then closes right back above, or if we have a separate, an opposite signal where it's a sell signal, where it might close below here. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Like I mentioned, the market's just moving a little slow today, so it's kind of hard for us to really identify these areas. So right here for NZD CAD, I think I did mark this up already. So looking at NZD CAD right here, this is where price currently is. The next zone is way up here. So this has opportunity to push way up here if it ends up, pushing up even further. So this upper zone right here is going to be 0.91443. This lower zone right here is going to be 0.90102. And like I mentioned earlier, I was looking at this when I was looking for entries on the last 4-hour candle close. And for this right here, this would have been the entry. So it's a late entry from this break right here, which should be over here. And then these would be the stop loss and a TP. However, I just didn't feel that confident with this trade. That's why I didn't decide to take it. So this right here will probably shoot up to here at some point. Maybe not, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually I see it pushing up bullish. Unless we get a sell signal and then it closes below here, then we would take a short position. But until that happens, it still has a bullish bias. And this is what I see happening until, the market says otherwise. Looking at NZD CHF over here, let's see what our current price is. I think I've done the zones for this during the previous, I'll just redraw them again anyways. So it looks like the NZD pairs kind of pushed up a lot last week, so it made it a little difficult to really identify the good zones here, because we have a ton of zones down here, but these zones down here are a little irrelevant because price is way up here. So looking at price right here, let me get the upper zones right here. I'm just gonna draw these zones right here on the 8-hour. There's nothing above, so we'll go on the daily. And there we go. We got some upper zones right here. So this is the first zone. This would be the next zone right here. All right, cool. So looking at NZD CHF over here, these are the two zones. Price is currently within these two zones over here. So I'm just going to, I'll give you this lower zone right here, which is 0.62811. And this upper zone over here is going to be 0.63263. So those are the two zones closest to NZD CHF right now. Move on to NZD JPY. This is one that I was thinking about taking earlier when we identified the entry. However, I didn't call it because I just felt like it was a bit risky because it was for a buy position, but a lot of the JPY pairs were heading down. So that's why I didn't want to call it, because it didn't correlate with the other JPY pairs. However, it could still shoot up because it looks like the NZD is kind of strong currently. So this might shoot up from here and head up to TP. Let me see this right here. I keep getting a bunch of messages from people about US 30. Here's the thing, guys. If you guys can't handle the risk for trading US 30, then don't trade it. There's a lot of people that keep trying to trade US 30 with a small account. And if you can't handle the stop loss right here, even with the smallest lot size, then you just aren't able to trade US 30. It's a big problem with a lot of people that, just can't accept the fact that they don't have enough capital to trade US 30, but you can't over leverage it. So if you over leverage it and you blow your account, that's really on you, because you know the risks that are involved with US 30. and you know that you personally knew that you didn't have enough money to trade US30. So if you guys don't have enough funds to trade US30, then don't trade it. Just trade the Forex pairs. You've seen our results from the Forex last week, and they've been doing very well. So if you guys just took the FX trades last week, you have done like really good in compared to, you know, taking these trades where a lot of people end up getting stopped out because their account's too small. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I'm just getting messages from other people where they're saying that they're just, they keep blowing accounts, but the reason they're blowing accounts is because their accounts are too small. Yeah, someone just messaged me. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just have to message these privately because I don't want to put their information on here, but there's a couple people that have, yeah, I don't know, guys. Here, I'm gonna be realistic with you guys. You know, trading is not for everyone. There's some people that just keep losing, and it's literally not possible. Like for someone to, yeah, there's just someone that's like venting to me in the messages. They keep complaining, they keep losing, but I don't understand how are they losing when, I'm gonna hide their message here. Yeah, I don't understand how anyone took that many losses. When you look at the results from last week, look at the results from last week, guys. Full TP. Even if you didn't even move your stop loss and you just let it run to full TP, it's impossible for someone to lose these trades. Full TP, full TP, full TP, literally all full TP. There was like 2 stop losses that were hit, and then the rest were like full TPs. So, you know, some people are blowing their accounts. It's probably because of them. It's probably the reason is that they're over leveraging. They're not managing the trades properly, or even if they were even managing it properly, they still didn't reach these full TPs here. So I'm just gonna be realistic. You know, this is something that a lot of people don't like to hear, but realistically, like trading isn't for everyone. It can be for everyone. Yeah, exactly. Emotional trading. So the thing with trading is it can be done by anyone, and people can still do well trading by not doing, you know, the max. But in a lot of situations, trading just isn't for everyone because people just don't understand how to follow directions. And like with some of these trades here, they all hit full TP. So I'm not sure, you know, what's going on with some people's accounts, but you know, everything is laid out for everyone where it shows that it's impossible for someone to come out negative from last week if you're trading FX pairs. Even the US30 pairs, it's impossible. But I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know what else to tell some people sometimes because some people want to keep trying, but they just don't follow the directions or the rules. And, you know, they end up blowing accounts due to their own mistakes. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like, you know, maybe trading isn't for you, but it can be if you actually do things properly. And if you look at US30 right here, it's coming back in a profit. And this thing didn't hit stop loss. So for those who said it hit stop loss, it didn't hit stop loss. You know, you had to factor that into your spread as it's been discussed many times in the past. And if you guys didn't do that, then you know you just have to take responsibility for the loss because there were ways to avoid getting stopped out. Like I'm still in this trade right now, guys. I can even show you my account. Like I'm here in the negative, but I'm still in the trade. See, I'm pretty far in the negative right now. I'm like complete opposite of what we had earlier. I'm like down nearly 1,000, but it's coming right back up right now. So it's all a game of patience. It's all a game of doing things properly. Okay, but we'll go back to NZDJPY right here. So this lower zone over here is going to be 71.870, and this upper zone right here is going to be 73.125. So that's it for NZDJPY right there. NZD/USD right here, the one that I just called. It is currently active right now. So let me just put in these alerts. TB110. This was 17. So I'm sending alerts for NU right now that I called earlier. TB2 plus 17. full TP. All right, full TP is 35 pips right there. And then I'm going to stop loss is right here. Yeah, Ed said emotional trading. Yeah, that's this problem with a lot of traders. You know, they're just trading emotionally, and same with Spencer. Spencer said he's still in the trade as well. The trade's coming right back up, guys. So if you guys got stopped out, is because your spread's too wide, or you just didn't have enough money to trade US 30. So I'm technically still in the trade. I'm in the negative right now, but it's coming right back up. That's why I was telling you guys not to freak out, because this drop was, I don't know what caused this drop, but it was going to recover regardless. So I'm just hanging on to it right now. But if you guys lost money on this trade, it was more so because you didn't have enough money in your account to trade this, or you're over leveraging and you're going too heavy, ended up going into a margin call. So US 30 is still alive and kicking right now. Our NU trade is in some drawdown right now. It dropped down a little bit. Let's see from entry. I mean, it's not even much. It's like 4 pips. So NZD USD is fine too. It might even come back down and then reject off this point and then shoot upwards. We'll have to wait and see. This trade was, I don't want to say it was a forced trade, but it was kind of forced because, obviously people just keep complaining about the signals because they're so used to having a lot of signals that all flop. But for me, obviously I want to have trades with accuracy. Reason why I called this was using the SR strategy. And, obviously we had a momentum right here upwards. We had a buy signal. So we had a buy signal for momentum swinging upwards. Price broke the structure right here. Technically, this entry should have been over here, but price came back down and closed above here for a second entry. And that's why we entered this trade over here. And this is why I anticipate it to come up a little further. But let's have to wait and see how it plays out. Like I mentioned, all the NZD pairs were pointing up earlier, and that's why I took it. But it's just going to be a game of patience from now until Asia session when the NZD market actually opens up. Oh man, Usman said his hit stop loss because of the spread. Yeah, that's the issue with a lot of other with everyone. Usually it's because of the spread, and that's why I always give some cushion for the spread. The problem with me sending out signals is that I can't incorporate spread into the trade, because the thing is not everyone has the same broker. Not everyone's doing FTMO, and that's why I send 2 different signal entries. Same with the Forex pairs. Pricing is a little off by a little bit, and the spread is like different for different brokers. So that's why I can't incorporate spread, but spread should always be incorporated on your end, or giving some certain sorry, I was looking at a message. Yeah, because you guys would either have to incorporate the spread, or make sure that you have enough cushion between the stop loss and your entry. Because if you don't add like a few pips to it, you might get stopped out. Even though US 30 right here didn't hit stop loss, if your spread was way wide, depending on your broker, normally it's about, let's see, US 30 spread is generally about like 50-40 pips, right? So 50-40 pips right here, you'd be fine, because this is 100 pips right here. So it was 100 pips from where price reached. So if your stop loss was, your spread was way wider than that. Like for certain brokers, like Hugo's Way, the spread for that's like between 150 and 300. So if you didn't incorporate your spread into this, you might have gone stopped out. But if you did, then you would have been perfectly fine, because price never reached the price where it would have been stopped. But it's just something that you learn from it. You make the mistakes, and as long as you learn from those mistakes, it's perfectly fine. The problem with a lot of other people is they never learn from it. They make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Even if they ask me, I give them advice to fix that mistake. A lot of people just don't like to follow directions, and then they just end up, falling in that same circle where they take a trade, they over leverage, they get stopped out. They're like, "Hey, Shawn, what can I have done to fix this?" I'm like, "Don't over leverage." The next time they take the same trade, they win, right? The next trade after that, they get too overconfident, over leverage, blow their account. "Hey, Shawn, what could I do to fix this?" Look back at the messages I sent you last week. Exactly. Same situation over and over again. But as long as you learn from the mistake, then you'll be completely fine because you won't keep making that same mistake over and over again. But the main problem with a lot of traders is that they fall into the same circle, time and time again, and they never learn from it. So in order for you to actually grow and become a better trader, you just have to learn from, the same mistakes that have been made in the past. But okay, so let me just finish up the chart analysis, guys. So I keep going off in tangent because I keep getting these messages from people. But yeah, I think I was on USD CAD right here. So for USD CAD right here, let me check and make sure the zones are good. I know we're in the long stretch. We only have like 3 pairs left before we're done covering all of the pairs. So I just want to finish this off before we, go over any other questions. So looking at this right here, down there. Delete that. Yeah, everything here looks pretty much good. Fix this right here. I'll just delete that. And then draw a new zone right here. All right, cool. So price is currently, so let me turn this off. Price is currently within these 2 zones right here. This lower zone is going to be 1.30806, and this upper zone right here is going to be 1.31199. And that's for USD CAD right there. Move on to the next one, USD CHF. I'm just going to zoom through these 2 guys because nobody asked about these pairs anyways. So I'm just going to give out the zones right here so that you guys can be familiar with where the zones are, in case you guys want to be trading this specific pair. So I'm going to do this fresh because it looks like it moved a bit from last week. We have this. Let's draw a big zone right here. And then this one down here. And then this down here. And then the last zone down here as well. So we got all the zones lined up over here. Yeah, that's good. We'll hide this. And then price is currently within these 2 zones over here. So this upper zone over here is going to be 0.91336. And this lower zone down here is going to be 0.90931. So those are the 2 zones between NZD CHF right now. Let me pull up the momentum indicator. So right here, we have a sell momentum. Price broke below the zone right here. If you were to enter a short position right there, yeah, it looks like, price is going to continue downwards. It hasn't finished the full move. So I think after this rejection right here, price is going to continue down further. So if you guys are in that sell from last week, looks like it's still going to keep coming down. Let's move on to the last one, UJ right here. I'm going to turn this on over here. Just make sure everything's good. I think it should be because I think I looked over this earlier. Yeah, so for UJ right here, all the zones are pretty much perfectly fine. I'm going to hide that. Turn on the momentum indicator. Price is currently within these 2 zones over here. So this upper zone is going to be 104.802, and this lower zone down here is going to be 104.512. So basically for the situation right here, we'd be waiting for price to close below the zone right here, and then it would provide for a short position right here. However, until price breaks below this area, you're not going to have any areas for entry, because if price closes below here, there's not enough space before it reaches this next zone. It's only 9 pips. So even if price was to push down here, there's a ton of areas for rejection. Price can reject from here, or it can reject from down here, which is why we are waiting for price to close below here in order to catch an entry. Because you can see right here, when price closed below here, it ended up dropping pretty hard. So that's what we're anticipating right here for UJ. So yeah, that's it for UJ right here. The upper zone is going to be 104.805, and this lower zone right here is going to be 104.512. And that's it for the Forex pairs right now. I'm going to look over at the other stuff right now. Let me go back down to the chat. See, Spencer said, what's your average monthly profit if you don't mind asking? So Spencer, you can look at the results. All of these trades that I send out are trades that I take on my own personal account. So if you look at all the results from this year, you can see this right here for Forex. I usually trade a standard lot for Forex. For indices, I usually trade a mini lot for my FTMO, and then I trade a micro lot for my personal. So, you know, you do the math there, you can see exactly how much I personally make overall on the monthly, because all the trades that I call are trades that I actually take on my account. So I'm not going to go down and break down the numbers for you, because obviously that's going to be a waste of my time to be going over that with you guys, because it doesn't really affect. So here's the thing. A lot of people want to see how much I make when I trade, but it doesn't mean that you're going to make the same thing, because, you know, obviously I follow my trading plan, and I'm able to pull, like, all these trades that I call are stuff that I actually take on my own. But the thing with a lot of people is they want to match what I'm doing. And, you know, it doesn't matter how much advice I give to anybody, like how many steps I give you guys, because I literally give you guys the blueprint in the course. If you look at the K2 course, everything that's taught here is everything that I do myself. So even though you guys have the blueprint in front of you, it doesn't mean that you're going to have the same results as me, because you guys also aren't the same level of my trade psychology. You're not also at the same level of trading efficiently as I am. But for me, you know, this is all second nature to me. So if you want to see how much I personally make trading, it's going to be from the same results, because all these trades are taken on my account. So yeah, this would be the standard lot for FX. And then for the micro, it'd be around here from my FTMO, and then somewhere around here, but a little more for my personal account. And that's pretty much what the results look like for me so far for the year. But yeah, that's basically how you would figure out, you know, what I make, because obviously I'm not going to give you guys the exact numbers, because it's just going to give you guys unrealistic goals, because I'm pretty on point with my trading, but that doesn't mean that everyone else is going to be on point as well, even after I give, you know, all of these detailed steps of like what I do, you know, with regard to the exit strategy, with regard to the entries, with regard to the strategies in general. You guys can trade exactly how I'm trading, and you guys can learn how to trade exactly how I trade. But, you know, your success is really dependent on you, on a trader, and not you personally, but everyone in general, because everyone trades differently. Everyone's at a different level of trading. But yeah, I mean, it shows what's possible here. If you just go to any of the channels, just search up the results, and you'll see what the results are so far for the year. Let's see what else we got here. Radomir said SPX looks like another entry for a buy. So Radomir, I don't trade the S&P, but I can look at it for you. So let me pull up S&P right here. I personally don't trade S&P. I only trade US 30, but S&P generally moves in the same direction of US 30. So looking at S&P right here, we can go on the 10-minute. So the strategy that we use for US 30, a lot of people use it for S&P as well. I can't recommend it because I don't do it. Like, I haven't used it myself, and I'm not sure how it works, you know, exactly. But, you know, if we were to use the same exact strategy on S&P, this was the New York Stock Exchange open at 6:30 right here. And then this would be a long position off this first entry right here. Stop loss would be at the previous swing down here for about 190 pips. And yeah, so if this closes right here with a valid buy signal, then, you know, it's possibly going to be a buy entry for that. But let's see. Let me try on the pivots. I mean, because there's a ton of ways to analyze this. There's not just one way. So yeah, looking at the pivots right here, the pivot entry would have lined up with the daily entry. So say if price closes above this, you know, the pivots right here, if it closes above it, and then we do get that buy signal, then yeah, I can anticipate this to like how it is right there. So say if we get a strong bullish candle right here, right, which looks like it's developing. If this candle right here is a strong bullish candle, so it's a big green candle, closes above this area, then I could definitely see it shooting upwards. So that's the way that I would analyze it. The way that I trade, in general indices is I use the pivot strategy aside from the daily US 30 strategy. So if I'm trying to scalp it, then I would use the pivot strategy. So basically, if you guys are familiar with how the pivot strategy works, we wait for price to trend upwards. We wait for a retracement, rejection off the pivots, then a buy signal or a sell signal if you're taking a sell. If you were to take this buy signal right here, you would hit full TP right here for about 2,000 pips, right? Same situation over here. Price comes up. So it comes down. Sorry, comes up right here, rejects from this point, comes down, rejects from this point. So this is requirement 1, trend up, requirement 2, retracement, requirement 3, rejection, buy signal, and then this would have hit another full TP right there. So that's another one right there. Same situation right here, price comes up, buy signal. It's literally the same strategy, just being applied over and over again. So again, right here, and then right there, 23. And then again, right here, another buy signal, same requirements were met. So literally you can just scalp this all the way up. And I'm sure this is how a lot of people were trading this last week. So I did see a lot of people have a bunch of scalp wins. And I was like, dang, that's a lot of wins for, scalping S&P. So basically all of these right here all line up. Same situation right here. If this closes above this area and it's a buy signal, then it would be a valid buy entry because price comes down, comes up right here, retracement, rejection off this point, buy signal, and then you can pretty much ride that up. But just with the way the market's moving, I would be careful because we're also getting close to market close for US session. It's 11:13 right now. The market closes in about 2 to 3 hours. So by then, basically what happens when market goes from session to session is it usually goes in the opposite direction for that following session. So right here, market closes right here at 1500 hours. So this is what I saw right here. So price came down on open and then it shot up. So I was anticipating it to continue up until the next session, right? Once it reaches Asia session, then I could see it come down a little bit. And then once we get to London session, which is right here, Asia session is kind of slow, so it'll probably go down like this. And then once we get to London session, if this is what happens, it'll probably come down a little bit to continue for the first few minutes. Kind of similar to what happened here. You see the first few minutes came down and then it shot up. I could see it shooting right back up during the London session right here. Because basically from session to session, it usually moves this way. It'll come up like this. The reason why I see this coming straight down is because there's a market turnover right here. But you still have, let's see. I mean, I guess we still have about 3 hours left until the market close. But generally, once it hits lunchtime, I usually try to get out of the trade because that's when the market starts to moving a little more weird. But yeah, that's pretty much what I see happening for S&P. And yeah, Radomir, if you're thinking about taking it, if this closes with a valid buy signal, then I anticipate it to come up. Also, if you're applying that same strategy that we were discussing earlier, the normal intraday strategy, it lines up right here perfectly. It's a green buy signal with a green trend meter. So you can anticipate that to shoot up further. Like if you took these entries right here as well, see how it was a green buy signal with a green trend meter. If you took that, it would have hit full TP as well. And then same situation right here, full TP right there as well, or close enough. You probably want to move your stop loss and profit as it moves that way. Yeah, Spencer, no problem. I want to be 100% transparent with you guys. Like, just because I make these, consistently profitable trades and I'm pretty consistent with everything, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to be in the same boat. I want everyone to get to that level where you can be consistently profitable like I am, but it's going to take time and practice. Like a lot of people don't realize that I've been trading for 10 years now. I've had a ton of losses before I got to this point. I was probably not even profitable until maybe 3 to 5 years ago. Maybe 3 to 5 years ago, I was slowly profitable, but not enough to live off my trading. And then 3 years ago, that's when I started to develop the strategy to share with you guys. That's when I became super profitable because the thing is, I was on the chart every single day. I was learning new things every single day, and I was always, I was always leveling up my skills. Like every time I found an issue with my trading strategy, I would go and make changes to make it even better so that I wouldn't fall into that trap the next time. And that's why the K2 strategies are so accurate and why I'm so consistent with my trades, because I actually trade every single day. I'm not like other traders where they trade like, 2 days out of the week and then they just chill for the rest of the week. For me, it's like I trade every single day, and I'm always looking for new ways to get better at, trading the K2 strategies and helping you guys to level up your trading game as well. Oh man, look at David over here. What's up, David? You at work? Oh man, I haven't even checked my what's it called, our Google Hangout. I don't know if you've been sending me messages on there. Ed said, are you holding until Asia session for US 30? So Ed, I'm probably going to like once it moves back into profit, I might close out the position, because it's probably going to, so right now it's 11, probably by 12. This is usually what happens. Once it hits around lunchtime, you'll see like a big spike in price. So if this spikes up like to TP1 or somewhere near it, I'll probably close out my position. I don't like holding my trades into the next session, like I mentioned, because basically when it moves to the next session, it usually goes in the opposite direction. So like you can see right here, same thing that I mentioned earlier. It's the same situation that happened here during London session. So London session, it came down a little bit, then it shot up. Same situation right here. It came down a little bit, and then it shot up. So I'm thinking that it's going to continue up until the next session. So right here for Asia session, I'll probably see it come up a little bit, then drop down. Because I think during London session, it's going to be bullish again, especially with all the COVID news coming out. However, if it's still in negative, Ed, then I'm probably going to hold on to it into Asia session. But I personally don't want to hold on to it that long, because I just find it to be a bit risky holding it into the next session. Yeah, Dave, my bad. I haven't really checked my email at all either. Today, ever since we started doing these morning sessions, I just haven't really had time to do all the extra stuff. But oh, I see. So you're Ron, David over here. That makes sense now. I was like, man, who's Ron? And dude has like 100 aliases out here. But yeah, guys, so I think that's it for today. I'll probably hop back on later or something. I just want to, let me see how long. I've been on for like 3 hours now, so I want to take a little break. I need to go check on my car too to see if it's done with servicing. Maybe they can drop my car off here at my place. But yeah, I think that's about it. Unless you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. But I think we're done with the questions in the chat right now, because I still have to go through all these messages right here. A bunch of people asking about the certain trades. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Telegram so I can answer your questions. Otherwise, we will definitely be having our morning session again tomorrow. And I'm gonna try to do it daily again, from Monday to Thursday. We'll have our daily sessions where we can, get on this call and you guys can take the trades with me live. Because I think it's beneficial for all of us. It keeps us all on track. We're all focused and not doing all these other things on the side while we're trading. Because like I mentioned, you guys need 100% focus, especially if you're trading US 30, because this trade can go your way and it can go opposite in the blink of an eye. So as long as we're trading together, we're going to be focused and on the same page, throughout the entire session, so that we can, maximize our profit potential. Let's see, David's on incognito. But yeah, guys, thanks for showing up. If you guys have any questions, just reach out on Telegram. I can reach to you guys there. I'm probably just going to be answering questions from now until noon, and then I'll try to give you guys some updates if anything happens in the market. Otherwise, I'm going to be watching US 30 until it pushes back in profit. But I'll definitely be on Telegram to respond to any questions. But yeah, guys, thanks for showing up, and then